Hello, friends. Today we are going to talk about the wicked that makes fun of the Dalmatians, Cruella, or rather the 2021 film of the same name. In 1964, a little girl with black and white hair was born. Estella is a creative but lively and stubborn girl. It is because of that her mother, Catherine, will call her Cruella. In primary school, the girl who knows how to defend herself passes almost more time in the director's office, only in the classroom. However, apart from his victims, she also has friends, a nice girl, Anita, and a happy puppy researcher, Buddy. But family life ends when the patience of the school director bursts, and that Catherine must remove her daughter from the school. Pending their modest cases, mother and son are sent to London, where others sent to study the child who has the fabric of a first-rate designer. But first, Catherine must meet her friend with the very chic Elman Hall. Her mother takes off her medallion from her neck and gives it to her daughter so that she can wear him. All the girl has to do is wait in the car for a few minutes. But she does things in her own way and suffers in the hall. The girl sees a magnificent living room, a podium, and many beautifully dressed women. Estella does not yet know where she went, but she is sure she has found her place in life. Unfortunately, she and her puppy attract attention, and John, the valet, and the Dalmatians of the hostess rush to the troublemaker. Estella runs in the street and calls her mother, who speaks to a lady in the distance. The daughter stumbles, and the dogs, for any reason, change course and attack Catherine. Under the effect of a shock, the woman falls from a cliff. Thus, Estella becomes an orphan the next day. She still arrives in London and even finds the Fontaine de Regan Park, where she had to go and take tea with her mother. The unfortunate child falls asleep right next to it, and when she wakes up, she meets forced with two small thieves, Horace and Jasper, and their Magoon puppy. Jasper has already managed to steal the handbag of a passerby, so when the police launched in pursuit of the boys, Estella decides that it is better to run away with boys. Boys, since they failed to get rid of the girl, accepted in their band. It will be a distraction. Of course, this is not exactly what Estella had in mind, but she has no choice and to go unnoticed. The girl changes her black and white hair color. 10 years later, the Estella Rose always live in the same old house with his friends Horace and Jasper, and its Buddy and Magoon dogs. The girl admits that they have become almost like a family of beautiful and agile thieves. When we died earlier for design, he does not escape her, and the girl gladly cost for herself. On her birthday, Estella receives a gift from Jasper as wonderful as it is outstanding. An invitation to work in the most popular store in London, Liberty. The excited girl arrives at the commemorative fountain and promises her deceased mother not to get into trouble. She finally has the chance of her life. In fact, it turns out that Estelle was hired by the store as a simple cleaning lady. From time to time, she tries to explain that it could be more effective behind the sewing machine. But the answer is the same. Less blah blah, no more rubs. One evening after cleaning up, Estella does not deprive herself of the pleasure of sipping an elite alcohol in the office of her boss, after which she decides to improve an exposed dress. The girl wakes up in the same window, next to the dress decorated with newspaper, which has already gathered a crowd of visitors and passers-by. The manager is about to denounce the girl to the police, but he must take care of an important guest. It turns out that the fashion queen has already been interested in this strange showcase. While the director apologizes for the Estella licensees, the Baroness takes action and hires a girl who has decidedly taste. The working day in the new owner's fashion house begins at 5 a.m. The Baroness gives staff a 5-minute meeting and reads the praises of his last triumphant spectacle. Estella immediately realizes that the bar is placed very high and that the hostess is not ceremonious. During the new model parade, the boss does not chew her words. Ridiculous, cheesy earage. And she cuts the sleeve of the Estella dress with a lively gesture, without worrying about hurting the arm. By walking in the street, Estella notes a vintage fashion shop, Second Chance, and meets his owner, a refined and artistic young man, Artie. Souls, they immediately become good friends. At work, the girl tries to be diligent. For the Baroness, which requires 7 rods of parsley instead of 6 or 8 for its dinner, that makes all the difference. The talented assistant accompanies the lady to important meetings, meet his lawyer Roger, and draws sketches. The next time Estella comes to La Fontaine, she tells her mother that the Baroness noticed it. There is something in her. One day, the girl sees a medallion around her neck, the same as his mother gave him little time before dying, and she dropped him somewhere in this appalling area. The Baroness says it was a family medallion that was stolen by its employee. After having stolen it, she was stupid enough to come back. But she fell from a cliff on the same day, a cheeky extorter who marred the whole party with his death. Estella, strangled by anger and resentment, decides to recover his medallion. The girl plans to steal him on the day of the biggest season of the season, and ensures the support of his faithful Horace and Jasper. She herself intends to distract the Baroness further, but then reacts to Jasper's remark that she will be recognized and promises that Estelle will not go there. On D-Day, Horace sneaks into the ball disguised as a rodent exterminator. The rat is embodied by Magoon, which looks very convincing with its rat tail. While Horace directs in the trunk and the Baroness drinks as he pleases, a superb lady in white and Buddy sneak into the hall. Everyone turns to the dye of broken worms and sees a miraculous transformation. The white outfit of the beautiful is replaced by an outrageous red, and now only her hair corresponds to the black and white dress code of the ball. The intrigued Baroness summons the insolent girl and discovers that she is wearing a dress from her own collection, dating from 1965. The girl is called Cruella and in turn makes the discovery. The medallion is today on the Baroness. The Jasper server, which serves a rat dish, comes to the rescue and protests. Cruella steals the medallion and throws it on Buddy. The Baroness calls its Dalmatians to the rescue using a nice silver whistle. The girl suddenly understands why dogs threw themselves on her mother. The Baroness triggered them. Meanwhile, one of the Dalmatians swallows the medallion, and Cruella and her friends run away in a car stolen from confusion. Estella must accept that the death of her mother is not an accident, and that there is a real killer in this story. It goes through the classic stages of mourning, but without reaching the last. She remains blocked in her own stage, revenge. She's about to steal everything at the Baroness case, statue, influence. Consequently, Horace and Jasper are only dealing with Cruella that they want to help despite his wickedness. The first thing they do is follow his orders and kidnap the 3 Dalmatians of the Baroness. After all, the medallion is in one of them. Cruella herself visits a former school friend, Anita, who works as a worldly columnist for a fashion magazine. She tells her friend that she wants to create her own fashion house, and that his work is to talk to everyone. In addition, she recruits Artie, who is a sewing expert, and creates a real workshop in his old house. While the Baroness is worried about the disturbances, Estella continues to go to work as if nothing had happened. The workshop reflects on the spring collection, the highest point of the season. Suddenly, the fashion queen has a new problem. Instead of the usual triumph, each of its appearances is an embarrassing failure, which so-called passing is reported in detail by the meticulous journalist Anita. It is because of this damn Cruella. This provoking punk outfit puts an obstacle to the sumptuous personality of the Baroness, and her extravagant performances are increasingly undermining the authority of the influential lady. The Baroness ends up finding a signature for its collection, or rather by stealing a personal sketch in Estella. Another thing to get rid of this Cruella's art. The Baroness expects his lawyer Roger that he pursues his rival for vandalism or hooliganism, but he admits that the law is not on their side, that someone tells him to call Saul, and Roger is returned to this stage. The Baroness then appears at Anita and lets hear explicitly that Cruella will cost him. Meanwhile, Estella finishes the centerpiece of the collection, but the glitter intended to embellish it are delivered to the Horace workshop under the appearance of a courier. When it ends, it is clear that this model will cause a sensation. The Baroness, satisfied, invites Estella to the restaurant, and there, around a drink, she admits that it is not that she hates Cruella. She is sassy and shiny, but that there is no place for two here. At night, Jasper and Horace enter the workshop. This is their mission. The Baroness must simply discover that someone has forgotten something in their workshop. In the morning, Estella arrives at work. The Baroness is convinced that Cruella tried to steal it, but the Baroness is not the only one to have problems. Jasper and Horace get tired of the insensitive Estella Cruella, and are less and less ready to help him. Not that he never disobeyed him. However, the Dalmatians of the Baroness would not go to bed, so Cruella did not let them do it. And how does she do that? The day of the spring collection parade, while the press is already taking place, it turns out that the trunk lock is broken. How do you get out of dresses? The trunk is ultimately open using a ball cut, and he takes out thousands of butterflies at night, who manage to get out of their cocoon in the glitter dresses that Estella sewn. All the outfits of the collection are desperately ruined. The Baroness, perhaps for the first time in her life, loses his face and does not hide her emotions. And outside, the audience is unleashed on the stage of Cruella, which organizes its own fashion parade. The diva shines in a sumptuous coat sewn as from Dalmatian skins. Whether true or not, the big news channels struggle. But one thing is certain, the fashion revolution took place. Late at night, Cruella arrives at her house and declares on the doorstep, "The Queen is dead. Long live the Queen." But who will share his enthusiasm? Horace and Jasper are attached, and the Baroness is now in charge of the parade. His plan is simple. Cruella will burn in the fire, and its aide will go to prison for murder. Done is done. The house is sprayed with petrol, and Cruella attached and left to burn. The news of her death made the headlines. A new premature man, moreover, because Cruella wakes up in a cozy apartment. Besides her, John, the valet who pulled him from the fire. The man gives the coveted medallion to the girl and reveals her secret to her. A small key is hidden in the interior, and it opens the box where the birth certificate is kept. Cruella the bed and learns that she is the own daughter of the Baroness. Unlike Baron, his wife has no desire to take care of the child, and gave John the gold to get rid of the baby. But he spared the life of the girl and entrusted her to Catherine's care. The nicest of the servants, the Baron did not live long after the death of the child, but his true heir is not the Baroness, but his own daughter. There, Cruella, resurrected, goes again to the Fontaine de Regenspark. There she admits that she was never the glorious Estella that Catherine wanted her to be. She is Cruella, criminal and somewhat crazy. Meanwhile, the Baroness receives a disappointing news. Cruella's body was not found. Horace and Jasper are also sad. Sitting behind bars, they remember Estella. But her friend is already there. She can blow up a police station, and with Magoon, she helps her friends escape. It is much more difficult to convince them to stay and help them take revenge. But Cruella also succeeds when she reveals that the Baroness is her true mother and that she will not leave her alone. And in the Baroness campaign owner Hellman Hall, a sumptuous charity gala is in preparation. This is where Cruella prepares her revenge. The day before, she hears Horace admire their stolen car, the City Panther or Deville, as the boy is in mistake and takes the name to heart. The Baroness is armed and ready to welcome its guests. The guards are frozen in Cruella's tent, which will not fail to appear. She is there, hateful black and white hair. The error is quickly discovered. It is another lady, but behind her another appears. The guests all arise with black and white wigs and dark dresses in homage to Cruella. She herself is also there, of course, and steals a whistle at the Baroness without being noticed. Disguised as Estella, the girl stands near the cliff where her mother died and becks up for dogs. The Baroness comes out and finds her daughter. The lady repents having let such a treasure from her hands escape and intends to welcome her daughter to the family. Estella lets herself be kissed, but the treacherous Baroness the growth from the top of the cliff. At the horror of the lady, all the guests gathered behind her back, and she is forced to put handcuffs instead of bracelets. Estella knew what to expect from her mom and flies away from the cliff not only for pleasure, but also with a parachute. She reappears at the ball, but as a Cruella, to whom Estella Incorporated managed to rewrite her will. Later, Cruella interred Estella and placed a medallion on her coffin. She is now a full-fledged mistress of Hellman Hall, who now bears the succinct name of Hell Hall. The faithful Horace, Jasper, Artie, and John are still there, just like Buddy and Magoon and the 3 Dalmatians. Fantasy revolutions are still to come. In the final, Anita and her former lawyer Roger obtain Dalmatian puppies from Cruella, Patty, and Pongo, and Roger writes the legendary song Cruella d'Enfer. That's all for me. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We see each other in a next video. Goodbye.